Now to one of the ultimate trailblazers in American sports. Willie O Ree was the first black player in the NHL back in 1958. He is now 86 years young, and tomorrow O Ree's number 22 is being retired by the Boston Bruins. He also could soon be awarded Congress's highest civilian honor, the Congressional Gold Medal, making him the first ever hockey player to receive it. We'll talk to him in just one moment, but first, take a look at his story.
Welcoming Mr. Willie O Ree.
Willie O Ree didn't set out to be the first. He just had a passion for hockey. Born in 1935 as the youngest of 13, the Canadian athlete faced an uphill battle in the sport he loved. The NHL says they didn't have a rule that prohibited blacks from joining the league, but no black player had ever made the cut until Willie.
Started skating at the age of 3, started playing organized hockey at the age of 5. When I was 14 years of age, I decided I wanted to become a professional hockey player.
That dream seemed almost unattainable when he was struck in the eye with a hockey puck in a junior game, an injury that left him completely blind in his right eye.
I kept it a secret. I didn't tell them. So I just told myself, I said, forget about what you can't see and concentrate on what you can see.
But 2 years later, in 1958, O Ree joined the Boston Bruins more than 10 years after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. Willie would go on to play 45 games in the NHL over 2 seasons, retiring from professional hockey in 1979.
I didn't realize that at that time that I had broke barriers and opened doors for other, not only black players, but players of color.
His breakthrough, like that of many black pioneers in the 50s, was met with overt racism. Hockey fans taunted him with racial slurs in arenas across the country.
You'll have to take a lot. Being the first colored player, I've heard a few jeers like that, but I guess all hockey players can. Yeah.
After retiring from hockey, Willie continued the fight to diversify a league that was still mostly white, joining the NHL in 1998 as a diversity ambassador.
Turn around!
He played a major role in building and supporting more than 30 nonprofit youth programs for hockey across North America.
If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you're right. And there's a lot of truth to that. So you boys and girls can do anything you set your mind to do.
In 2018, he was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. His work and his legacy paving the way for black players not just to play in the NHL, but to reach stardom in a league that was once exclusively white. Willie O Ree, congratulations on this high honor, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. It certainly is a pleasure to be here.
So first things first, I'm just curious that back in the 40s and 50s, what drew you to hockey as a young man?
Well, actually, when I was 14 years of age, I decided I wanted to play professional hockey. And I made 2 goals for myself: to play professional hockey and hopefully one day to play in the National Hockey League. I worked at it, and then when I left my home when I was 17 years of age to go up to Quebec to play my first year junior, and then I played my second year junior, turned pro in 1956. But I had a burning desire within myself that I wanted to be a professional hockey player, and I worked towards it.
And take us back in particular to 1958. You were 22 years old and you become the first black NHL player ever. Did you feel the magnitude and weight of the history at that moment and realize the impact that you would have?
Not really. I was playing professional hockey in Quebec City with the Quebec Aces. We were affiliated with the Bruins, and then the Bruins called the Quebec Aces and said, we want O Ree to meet the Bruins in Montreal to play 2 games against the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday night, the 18th, and then on Sunday, the 19th. I was sat down with the coach, Emil Schmidt, and the general manager, Lynn Patrick, and they just said, Willie, we brought you up because we think you can add a little something to the team. I didn't realize I broke the color barrier until I read it in the paper the next morning. It really meant a lot to me. At the time, I was just so excited that I got the opportunity to play in the National Hockey League and with the Boston Bruins.
And, of course, it is Martin Luther King Day, and we're reflecting on the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s, right as you were making history. Tell us about the racism that you did endure during those early years and also how you cope with it.
Well, thanks to my older brother, who was my brother Richard, who was not only my brother and my friend, but he was my mentor. And he taught me a lot of things that I would need to know about if I was going to choose hockey as a career. And he just said, Willie, just forget about the racism and the prejudice and the bigotry and the ignorance. He says, if people can't accept you for the individual that you are, because at the time I had the skills and the ability to play in the league. But I got it from the fans, the racial remarks and slurs from the opposing players. But I just let it went in one ear and out the other. I knew if I fought every time somebody called me a name that I'd be in the penalty box all the time. So it was hard. It was hard at the beginning, but later on, I did gain the respect of not only the fans in the stands, but the players on the opposition.
And what does it mean to you now to have your number retired by the Bruins and to also be on the verge of being awarded with a congressional gold medal?
I have been blessed over the years, and some of the wonderful things that are happening to me and the wonderful people that I am coming in contact with. It's overwhelming, and I'm just thrilled. I'm just thrilled to death.
And we did mention in the piece that you lost sight in your right eye before you went into the NHL. Doctors had advised you to quit the sport, but you kept at it, persevered. How much of a challenge was that for you, and why did you decide to keep it a secret?
Well, first of all, back then, none of the players wore any helmets, no face shields, no cages, nothing to protect your face. And, you're playing out there and sticks and pucks are flying around. And I just happened to be in front of the net. There was a slap shot. A deflection, the puck come up and struck me in the right eye, broke my nose, broke my cheek. And I remember dropping down to the ice. And the next thing I knew, I was placed in an ambulance and taken to the hospital. Dr. Henderson was the surgeon, and I'm in my recovery room, and the doctor comes in and says, Mr. Ree, he says, I'm sorry to inform you, the impact of the puck completely shattered the retina in your right eye, and you're going to be blind and you'll never play hockey again. And within the next 5 weeks, I'm back on the ice skating and practicing. The thing is that being a left-hand shot and playing left wing, to compensate, I had to turn my head all the way around to the right to pick the puck. So I just said, forget about what you can't see and concentrate on what you can see. So my game picked up, and the season ends, and I go back to my hometown. And when I got back to my hometown, my parents had thought that I'd recovered from my injury because had been back playing and practicing. And they said, oh, thank God, he's all right. He's regained the sight in his eye. But I was totally blind, and I never told my parents. I told my younger sister, Betty, and I swore her to secrecy. I said, sis, don't say anything, because if they find out that I'm blind, I won't play pro hockey, and I definitely won't be able to play in the National Hockey League.
What a secret to have to keep all that time. But in the end, making those 2 goals, getting a checkbox next to both of them. I'm just curious, why do you think the diversity is so lacking in hockey?
There are more black girls and black boys and players of color playing hockey today than ever before. So we're going in the right direction. And, I've been with the program for now going on about 24 years since I first started. And I have noticed a big inflection of boys and girls coming into play.
Well, Willie O Ree, you are an inspiration to so many. We thank you again for talking with us tonight. Your story really speaks volumes about the possibilities of going for it, even once you lost your sight in the eye. It's really just an impressive story. So thank you.
Yeah, goal setting is very important, Lindsay. It really is. You need to set goals for yourselves, and you need to believe in yourself and feel good about yourself and like yourself. And this is what I try and instill in these boys and girls. You can do anything you set your mind to do. If you feel strongly within your mind and within your heart. And, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you won't. And
You're right.
It's so very true.
Right. There's a quote there. Whether you think you can or can't do something, you are right. Willie O Ree, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.